All right. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Are we all good to go? Perfect. Good morning and welcome to our Lotus webinar today. My name is Donna and I will be your host and your moderator for today's class. Today's webinar is Healthcare on Purpose, 3X Your Practice, Profitability, and Personal Growth with Regan Archibald. Please do note that today's webinar, since it is on practice management, the California board has only approved this course for 5 CEUs under Category 2. Under Category 2, you can earn a maximum of 5 CEUs, which is why it's only approved for 5 CEUs. If you are a California acupuncturist and you didn't see this note about the CEUs and you would like a refund, just please email me immediately right now. My email address is info@elotus.org and I can work with you to refund the class if you'd like. Also, this course is not approved by the Florida board or IVIS since it is practice management. Just want to give you guys a heads up in case you're just here for CEUs purely, but I highly recommend that you attend the class. Regan gave a little preview on it yesterday in his thyroid class yesterday, and people were really eager to join today's webinar. He's going to give really great information and I feel like you're going to really enjoy the class. Okay, so a little housekeeping before we get started. The webinar today runs from about 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We'll have a 1-hour lunch break from 1 to 2 p.m. The lunch break is approximate. Regan will let you know when our lunch is and how long as well. And we will usually have 2 breaks in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. You'll see in the chat room now that you can connect with your colleagues who are also attending today's webinar live. Go ahead and type in, actually, before you do, go ahead and set your chat room to all panelists and attendees. When you set it this way, everyone can see your chat. By default, it is set to all panelists. And when you do that, only Regan and I can see your comments. So again, go ahead and set your chat room to all panelists and attendees, and then let us know where you are watching today's webinar from. Perfect. Okay, so the quiz for today's class will be available tomorrow afternoon, and I will send an email out when that is ready. The video replay will also be available tomorrow, and that will come in a separate email, and I'll alert you by email when that is ready as well. All right, so today we have 3 groups, and our first group is our Watch It Free group. The Watch It Free attendees, you are auditing today's class, and you have access to today's webinar for free. If you would like to upgrade to our second group, which is our paid group, I will send you a link in the chat room once I get back to my computer. The second group is the paid group, and the paid group, you have access to you will get access to the quiz to earn CEUs, as well as access to the video replay. So once again, Watch It Free group, you only have access to the live event only. Paid group, you get access to everything: the live webinar, the CEUs, and the video recording. And our Gold Pass members, that's our third group. Gold Pass members have ultimate access. You have access to this class for as long as you are a Gold Pass member. So you can watch the video over and over again until your heart desires. Okay, so today's class is with Regan Archibald, and Regan is a functional medicine provider and founder of the award-winning clinic East West Health, which has 4 clinics in the state of Utah that employs the best of both Eastern and Western trained doctors. He is also the founder of Go Wellness, which is the industry leader in creating a new genre in the healthcare with research-based programs in acupuncture, functional medicine, and stem cell therapy. His mission is to end pain and chronic disease for as many people as possible and to educate and inspire individuals to enjoy the benefits of true health independence. So at this time, let's go ahead and welcome Regan. And Regan, I'll go ahead and stop my screen here so you can share your PowerPoint.
Awesome. Hey, good to be back. And what a great event yesterday. Sorry, today we're going business mode. So I wore my Taurus shirt for you guys. I don't know who has a May birthday or a Taurus. We are going to be talking about the finances today and the financial world and thinking about business. So I tried to dress accordingly. So for those of you who have a birthday in May, I want to hear from you. Those of you who have, yay, we got Wallace. Yeah, we got May 7th, Caroline. That's awesome. And I love all of the zodiac signs, by the way. But May 9th, Darren, May 12th, April 20th, David, you're right there on the cusp. My son's birthday is April 21st. Melissa's a Gemini May. Yeah, I'm right, May 20th. So I'm right there. Like when I get my astrology report, they're like, oh, you're right on the cusp. Heather, May 7th. Awesome. Look at all these cool May birthdays. So really happy to be here again today. Yesterday was so fun. How many of you were here yesterday? April 27th, Ina, Brianna, Linda was there. Brianna. Okay, awesome. Morgan, David. Yes. Good. How many of you had, good. There's Anne Marie, Kristen. Awesome. I just want to thank you guys for making yesterday so fun. I don't know if you realize, but with my ADD, it's a little hard to stay seated in one area for that long. And you guys just made it super enjoyable for me. I went, took my kids. We went to Gateway, walked around, went to a couple art museums and saw these cool wood exhibits and to dinner. And it was so enjoyable. Then this morning, my son and I went out to the Great Salt Lake. We took the dogs out early this morning. And I told him, I said, I'm so excited to share this presentation with this group because they're so engaged yesterday. So let's see if today is not even more, because I'm going to actually give you thinking tools and show you how to think about your practice versus me just throwing up all the knowledge and hoping you guys get a little pearl or two out of this. I'm actually going to show you how to build a business. And we're going to start very first thing this morning. I'm going to share with you the 4 buckets. And Donna, I don't know if you're able to, if you received that, I shared with you guys that link. Donna, I emailed you this form. It's a fillable form so that you guys, I was realizing yesterday, it's probably difficult for you to just handwrite everything. So I'll try to share these tools with you so that you guys can fill these out yourself. You can print it out, have it, keep it in a file so that as you do this today, I'd love to just help you accelerate your growth. So really, once again, I'll try to make today as meaningful as possible. We'll go through the information quick, but we'll also go through it very slow so that you can marinate with it. So I'll give you time, some thinking time. So don't be alarmed if I'm setting my timer for about 2 or 3 minutes or even 4 minutes for you guys to work on some of these exercises, because it's the thinking about your thinking that's going to be the most important thing. One of my mentors, Dan Sullivan, he says, your brain only sees what your ears only hear and your eyes only see what your brain is looking for. And so today, if you could please tell me what you are looking to hear, what you want to see, and then let's just set an intention for this entire day and just put some intention there about what you'd like to get out of this. And then as we come to the end of this, imagine we're at the end of the day and it's Sunday evening, and I would love to have you just have that one thing that you'd like to get out of this, have that big problem solved. And maybe you don't even know what you're looking for. You just are here because you're like, well, I don't really know much about this part of the practice, and I'd love to learn. So you just take a minute, get some intention out. Yeah, you can put it in there. Nancy, more leads. I love that. Yes, if you just put down what you've got, that would be awesome. And okay, I see a couple of questions here. Now, regarding yesterday's class, what if you don't have any background and training in the functional medicine? Well, did you just get training yesterday? I've done Institute of Functional Medicine, the Apex courses, all of those, some of the Kalish. I can tell you that there's what I shared with you yesterday. It condenses the knowledge, and then the thinking tools with the 3-4-5 method. You're ready to go. So you do not need, we're going to sign off and just say, okay, now it's time to actually go start practicing. So go for it. So hopefully that answers your question, Morgan. I love how you spell your name, by the way. That's really cool. More leads. We've got Dana, create a practice I'm not doing the marketing patient care roller coaster. I'd like people to own their wellness. and let me help so they will continue to come. Good. Hopefully you learned the 3-4-5 method yesterday. That is your secret to success in keeping people engaged. Would love to see setting up IV therapy. So you want to, Brianna would like to set up an IV practice. That's great. So once again, it all falls into the 3-4-5 method. Oh, Craig, I love that. Start multiple practices in different states. Craig, you got to reach out to me. That's some ambition. We've got the third state, Utah, New Mexico, that we got solid clinics there. And then Hawaii, we just got our lease agreement this morning that I was reviewing. So reach out to me, Craig. This is where Anodyne, getting a territory with that franchise might make sense for you. Okay, where do you recommend 2 places you start? I recommend Go Wellness and I recommend Go Wellness. Otherwise, you get overwhelmed. Apex, you want to have Apex in your back pocket so they can help you review your labs when they come in. Good. Migueli wants more distant clients using functional labs and nutrition. What's the 3-4-5? Sorry, I wasn't on yesterday. We'll kind of talk about it today, Laura, but you will want to go back, hit up Donna, see if you can purchase that course from yesterday. Game changer. It will change the whole way you view your programs, and we'll show you how to structure it. Philip, you want simple marketing strategies, franchise, grow to scale business. Good. We're going to talk about this concept called EBITDA today, Phil. Philip, I don't know if you go by which one you go by, but I'll just say Philip just to be safe. But I'll show you what EBITDA is and how you can go from maybe a 1 or a 2 times EBITDA to a 6 to a 10 times EBITDA. So, Beverly, 80% of us went out of business. That's even better, Beverly, because, the people who don't have a solid foundation, they go out of business, and then it's much easier to, you lose a lot of competition that way. And so right now is the best time to build a practice. Never had a better opportunity. We've never seen a better environment for practitioners like us than right now. More leads in social media marketing. Ionis, that's awesome. Okay, you go by Phil. Thanks, Phil. Roxy wants to earn more ways to earn passive income in the practice. So this is a self-running practice. How many of you would like to have a self-running practice? Philip says my grandmother called me Philip, or Phil says my grandmother called me Philip. All right, Philip, if Reagan calls you Philip, you're in trouble, right? Yun Ho, creating and hiring the right people. We're definitely going to talk about that today. Marketing in general, actually, good. Okay, good. I would like simple ideas so I can spend very little time marketing and most of my time with patients. Good, Nancy. So Nancy, remember this concept. There's a book called Who Not How, and Who Not How is written by Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Both of them, Benjamin Hardy's a friend of mine. Dan Sullivan is a mentor of mine. He's also a patient. Him and Babs, before Canada got locked down, they would come out to my clinic every year. I've been in his 10X strategic coach group for years. And one of his best books he wrote is called Who Not How. I'll type it in the chat box. But this book is what you need, Nancy. If you want to just spend more time with patients, you have to have the right who's around you. And what he means by who's is not think about how can I get the marketing done, or how do I run the front desk? How do I manage my office? How do I become a better CEO? It's like, well, I don't want to do any of that stuff. Well, okay, well, there's 7.8 billion people on the planet, and there's people who love doing those jobs. So definitely a lot of people want a self-running practice here. And this is what we've helped my Go Wellness clients do for years. And this is one of the ways I can have multiple clinics. We've got 6 clinics now, soon to start our 7th in Kailua, Oahu. And so, yes, I mean, it's very doable. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Definitely want self-running. Hiring seems scary, Brianna said. It is, especially if you hire the wrong person. The good thing about hiring is you're not getting a divorce. I mean, it's not quite as much as like marrying somebody. People use that analogy, and I'm like, it's not like that at all. What you need are clear expectations and you need accountability. And we're going to talk about that. There's a book called No Ego by Cy Wakeman that I'm going to refer to today. I typed it in the chat box. That's another book which is a must read. I'm very into the very practical business books. I love the motivation and like the law of attraction. That stuff's really great. But I've never seen it get the results as some of these real, kind of more boring books like No Ego. But you guys will get the No Ego concept. Okay, Morgan, more patience, expanding the business marketing, adding more modalities to the business. Oh, I love that. Adding more modalities. So our innovation, our Elon Musk events coming up May 14th and 15th. And I'm just creating a brand new tool, an innovation tool that I'm going to share with you guys today before anyone has ever even seen it. And it's going to show you how to mitigate your risk. So you want to add in more services, but you don't want to do it at the expense of your moneymaker, right? And so otherwise, you just cannibalize your own practice. And I've seen practitioners do this the wrong way, and I've done it the wrong way. Most of the things I've talked to you about are because I've made the mistakes, but I've pivoted fast and got back on it. So I'll show you exactly how to do that, Morgan. Adela's, sorry if I mispronounced that. Be more confident in marketing, passive income, eventually open a business, use acupuncture to improve vocal health. Oh man, are you a singer? One of my assistants, Ann Marks, who you guys will be in touch with if you want to do any work with us or get involved in our next event. She was a Broadway performer. She's got this beautiful Christmas album that she released. So you and her would get along great. Okay. What is the definition of self-running, Roxy? Yeah, everyone says, I want a self-running practice. I guess we should define it. That means it's a practice that can function with or without you being there. So my practices, do you think all 6 of them could function with Regan being there all the time? Like without Regan? Absolutely. So that just means like you can step away and go on vacation. And yes, you still have to have communication because you are the founder and you're making the decisions on a lot of the big things. But really the day-to-day operations is turned over to other people, including acupuncture, including functional medicine or whatever modalities you're using. So really key. Okay, equitable business model regards all employees appropriately while allowing the employer to expand and incorporate more patients in more locations, make acupuncture required part of inpatient rehab care. All right, Nicholas, that's great. I don't know how to make it a requirement. That's beyond my knowledge, but love that. Phil, you said not without action. Yes, law of attraction. You put action in, you're going to get a lot better results. Okay, I'd love to get away from so much of it doesn't pay or reimburses terribly. Hoping with what you go over this jumpstart. Awesome. All right. Well, I think you guys are in the right place then. So Donna, this is great because I can go and I'm an individual. I know a lot of practice management people. They hold back on their knowledge and they only share with you like the very small things. So that it's kind of like this, carrot on a stick. And so I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to go full in. I'm going to go full out. I'm going to be transparent about what our practice does. I'm going to be transparent about what mistakes there are that I've made. I'm also going to share with you some opportunities for those of you who love this course and say, man, I really want to grow and I want to be that top 5% in our acupuncture field. Most acupuncturists, unfortunately, it's hard to make a living. And I'm always heartbroken when I hear of acupuncturists moving on to a new career. I had one of my patients who went to acupuncture school, came back, and I told him I'd hire him. He has a job with me, but he came in with, he said, I want to own part of your business, part of your practice. And I said, oh, that's not an option. I'm not interested in a partnership. I said, but you can work for me and I give you bonus structures based on our profitability. He didn't like that. So he went and started his own practice. And about 3 years later, he went back into computer engineering. Just a very phenomenal dude. So I don't want to see, I want to see you guys succeed because it's good for you. But it's even better for the community. I mean, I think if we were put in charge, I often ask, I said, you know, what if you were, and I asked this yesterday, and maybe it wasn't yesterday, it was in another webinar I was teaching, but I said, what if you were in Fauci's place, what would you do differently? And actually I asked this on a podcast with Dr. Mark Yonda. That's right. And she laughed and she said, well, I get everyone vitamin D tested. I would get thymosin alpha 1 going. I get them on herbs, functional medicine. I mean, all the things we would do, right? Acupuncture all the time. So I'm going to share with you guys how you can get over the struggle, like you said, Phil, figure out how to run a profitable business, planning for retirement, Michael. So I'm just going to let you know. And oh man, I would love to know how to pronounce your last name, actually. Chizoutsky. That's awesome. I don't know if you live in Europe, but I miss going to Europe. But anyway, I'm going to show you that retirement, if you have a self-running practice and if you're constantly in your creative flow, none of you are going to want to retire if you take this course. And you guys are going to be so fascinated with your practice and not be working yourself to the bone that you're not going to want to retire. So this is a big warning. This is not going to show you how to retire. This is going to show you how to endlessly grow and transform. My mentor, Dan Sullivan's 76, and he's got a goal to live to be 156. So that's why he comes and gets stem cells every 6 months. He does peptide programs. I mean, he does everything. So and everyone asked him, they're like, well, what if you don't make it, Dan? What if you don't make it to 156? And he's like, well, that's your problem. I mean, I'll be gone. So, but at least he's setting a big goal. So Brianna's out. Do you offer employees insurance or any retirement planning or benefits, especially since you have all these locations? Yeah, we have some things like that, Brianna, and that's a lot less important than me having, what I like having bonus structures, but yes, we do have some benefits for them. And we can talk more offline because you don't want to, remember, you're taking on an inordinate amount of risk. A lot of us, we hire somebody and we feel like they should be making close to what we're making, even if they're putting in more energy and effort and time than we are. But you are not, as an entrepreneur, you're not in a time and effort based economy anymore. You're not trading your time for dollars. What you're doing is you're taking on more of the risk. And in exchange for that risk, you have a greater reward that can come in. So the mindset is really important as an entrepreneur. Is, number one, you have to take 100% responsibility for everything that happens. And that means you set the rules. And those rules in my life are, I don't want to have someone who feels like they're entitled to all these benefits without adding value first. But I do have benefits, yes. But anyway, we'll talk about the mindsets more. Phil, you said, feels like I'm close. Hopefully with this course, insight, we can bulletproof our business. Amen. Okay. Well, you guys are awesome. All right. Make a powerful living. Make a powerful living pact with yourself. So let's do that right now. Let's just say, money is a good word. Money is not the root of all evil. Money is something that I can freely allow into my life. I can freely give it. All those things are going to be really important. Choppy feed. If you guys keep getting a choppy feed from me, let me know and I'll move closer to the router. But I want to be able to stand and use the whiteboard today. Yesterday I sat too long, so if that happens, let me know. But let's jump in. So number one, if you've got your notes, you can go here, and you guys know who I am. Here's where we are. We're talking about healthcare on purpose. I'm going to show you how to 3x what you're doing, and actually hopefully more, maybe 10x for some of you. This is part of my Anodyne Pain and Wellness team. This is about 30 of the 44 now, 45, somewhere in there. Amazing team. I just want to thank them because without them, I could not be here today. If I didn't have a self-running practice, the amount of time it takes me to put these presentations together, to write the books that I've written, is enormous. And yes, a lot of it's done on weekends. I wake up early when my family's sleeping, and then I play hard and go to bed early too. But my wife, I want to really thank her. Her name is Jessica, and she's just been such an inspiration to me. And whenever I have doubts, or I feel like, man, I'm not a good entrepreneur, I should just go back and just stick myself in the clinic, because I know I'm good there, and I always get a lot of pats on the back from patients. But ever since I've taken this entrepreneurial leap about 10 years ago, she's been right by my side, and she's been like, you got this. She's my biggest cheerleader. And so everyone needs that on their, needs people on their team. And then I've got this incredible support system around me that just makes everything go. And so this is actually, seeing my team thrive is more meaningful to me now, or just as meaningful as when I have the patients that tell me how great they've done with their care. They love what they've had happen with their lives. But I can tell you that building a community is a dream that I never thought I would be able to realize, not nearly at this level. If you would have spoken to me, 17 years ago when I started my practice, I would have said, no way. I mean, that's crazy. I wouldn't think I'd have this many locations and have this great of a lifestyle. I mean, I've been able to travel all over the world, have a lot of freedom. I've been able to create. And so I just want to thank my team. I want to thank you guys, my wife, especially my kids. My kids are super supportive. They think I'm just like the coolest dude, which I'm so fortunate to have them think that. And then Lotus, Lotus and Donna and the Chins have been just so generous to me over the years in allowing me to come and share my non-conventional information. I mean, it's just Lotus is just a phenomenal organization where they bring in the best of the best, just some people on totally different sides of the thinking pattern. And I appreciate it, because I know I'm like on the far spectrums of our acupuncture community. But I hope what I share with you, if I offend anyone, plug it in the chat box, I'll clear it up. But I want to thank them. You guys are, so let's give Donna and Sam and Tina and the Chins a big hand. Everyone there at Lotus would love you guys. So thanks for making this possible. Okay, you guys ready for your first quiz of the day? All right, I want to hear this. So would you rather have one penny that doubled every day for 30 days, or $10,000 cash every day for 30 days? If you say both, then I'm in total agreement. When I first saw this, I'm like, both. But if you had to choose one or the other, which one would you do? And plug it in the chat box. I want to hear what a few of you have to say. And if you're sneaking ahead in your notes, then it won't be nearly as fun. But okay, the penny. Okay, well, and imagine the penny seems best. The penny, because of compounding interest. Compounding interest will have nothing to do with this. This is just a penny that's doubling every day. So, okay, so let's look at it. Because most people actually choose $10,000. $10,000 sounds like I guess it depends on how tight you are on cash, right? If you're going to get kicked out of your house and be homeless for 30 days and you're not really quite sure what the math looks like, I would take the 10,000. But here's what it looks like. If you take a penny every day, here's what happens at day 5. You'd already have $50,000 in your pocket versus 16 cents. You'd be kicking yourself, right? You got your friend next to you who's like, oh man, I'm rolling. He's got the dollar bill, whatever that thing's called, make it rain. And then by day 10, you've got $5.12. Congratulations. You can buy a coffee. And your friend's got $100,000. By day 15, you're at $100.63. You're high rolling. Now you got a nice dinner with your lady or man or whoever. And now you're at 150,000. By day 20, you're at $5,242, and the $10,000 person's at 200,000. It's a gift either way, right? At day 25, you're at 167,000. Now that's some real money. You can do some damage with that much money. And then you're at 250. It's like, whoa, by day 25, it's catching up. But now here's the exponential. Here's where the tide just shifts. And this is what I want you guys to remember in your practice. You're in the deceptive phase. A lot of your practice, the first 10, maybe 12 years is going to be kind of in that deceptive phase where you're getting that penny every day, but you don't realize that you're accumulating all this value and all these resources. And then boom, then it can pop. You get introduced to the right who in your life, the person who can show you how to create multiples. And then you start realizing that your whole energetic field opens up and you start living in the world of possibilities instead of impossibilities, which is what most of us go to. And now this is when it starts to blow up. So look at this, by day 28, that penny, those of you who took the penny, which is all of you, now you got $1.3 million in your pocket. And then by day 30, you got $5,368,709 versus that $300,000 from the $10,000. And so this is everything. This is life. This is just, if you look at pennies as energetic exchanges, every time you do those small little things to grow your practice, it's the art of Kaizen. If you guys have studied Kaizen at all, it's the small little things that make the big results. It's like, in the Tao Te Ching, it's the water, the hardest thing in the universe gets softened by water, the softest thing in the universe. And so that's what this represents. So I want you to think about this as I go through these tools. A lot of it will come back to, I'm going to give you a penny that's going to double versus show you these instant ways, this get rich scheme quick. I've been through those courses. They're repulsive. I believe first you create a foundation of value and authenticity and trust, and you do things that serve other people. And that's going to be that penny that doubles every day. If you're just doing this course because you're like, man, I want to get rich and retire, and I want to travel all over and live in a yacht or whatever. I mean, I don't think anyone on this has those motives, but I can tell you I've met those people, and they're not great to hang out with, and nobody likes them. So we are heart-centered healers here, but we are heart-centered healers who have cared too much about giving away our services and not enough about our own self-worth and value. And so this course is for you to actually find your self-worth and start charging the universe and charging your community what you're worth in the way of sharing value first. So can everyone get on board with that? Pretty good concept, interesting. All right, so here's the numbers. I'm going to share with you. We'll go through this again, but I want to share with you what's possible. So this is 6 of my clinics. We don't have the 5 of my clinics. The 6th one is not in here yet. And these numbers were recent, so all the revenue has not been compiled, but what we're averaging, you can see on a collections basis. I basically pulled the last 4 weeks for you guys. So like I said, I'm going to be transparent. And with Anodyne Pain and Wellness Solutions, one of the things that we did about 2.5 years ago, as I started looking at bringing on people with greater capabilities than me, I said, I really want my model to go nationwide. And so we linked up with we've had a CEO, we've got a CFO, and so we've got bigger leaders in our organization. So I'm one of the founding members of Anodyne Pain and Wellness. So we changed our name just recently from East West Health to Anodyne Pain and Wellness, because they've helped us find multiples, helped us connect with other people. So, it's that who, not how principle. And so one of the things they've helped us do is just, obviously grow in profitability as well as performance. And so our week's revenue, and remember, this is a penny because, now we're in a multiple state, but how many of you would love to have 5,500% growth in 16 years? Because a lot of us, we underestimate what we can do we overestimate what we can do in a year. We underestimate what we can do in 10 years. But if you just look at your practice and you say, what did you collect your first year? I bet a lot of you have already 10x what you've been doing. So my first year in practice, my first full year was 2005. And that was 122,000 was approximately our revenue. Now what we're averaging on a weekly basis is 150,000, and that's growing every single week. Now with our new clinic that we've just acquired, that weekly average goes up to about 200. So this is pretty interesting because we're completely doing almost 6 times more in a week than what I did my first year. And so I don't say this to brag at all. I hope you don't take it wrong. I'm just telling you what's possible out there as you start focusing on just building these little things up. And so the very first thing that we're going to do, and I'm going to dissect these numbers deeper in a little while, but the very first thing you want to do is you build this out. So if this is of interest to you, that's gross. Roxy asks, is that gross or net? And so that's a great question, because I've seen a lot of dudes and ladies who crush it on the gross revenue, but they've got no profit. So our profit margins, we always run 20% or higher. One of our clinics is running at 46% profit margin right now, which is incredible. So, so that's it. All right. Fabio is asking, this is Ernest. This is for 5 of my clinics. The 6th clinic is a new one that we've just acquired, and it's a really exciting one. It's actually one of my biggest competitor in Utah. Always been, we've been kind of going for the same audience, and we're friends, and we just decided let's partner up. And so it's so fun. I'm so excited about this new venture. So that one's averaging about $50K a week. And we're just going to grow that. Fabio asks, how do you focus? I'm not sure what you mean by that question, but I do a lot of nootropics, if that helps. I had some like collagen and bulletproof coffee this morning with some mushrooms in it and CBD. That seems to help my brain. I went for a run at the Great Salt Lake. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of things. I take ice baths this morning. It woke me up. Okay, so do you guys have the form that you can fill out on this? Because what I want you guys to do is think about, there's 4 buckets in your business, and let's just simplify the practice. And this is your 1 penny doubling per day approach. And so how many of you do all the work in your office? All right. Okay, Diane, you're getting way ahead of the game. How many patients per hour does a single practitioner treat? We can get into that later, but let's, okay, Donna says, I've uploaded the form on the Blue Course Access page. Please refresh the page and you can download the 4 divisions. Thank you, Donna. Phil, you're a one-man band. Heather, you're a one-man band. Adina, you're a one-man band. Okay, so for those of you who are schizophrenic, tripolars, quadpolars, I'm going to show you how you can actually, you brought up a good point. Whoever asked me, how do you focus? I think it was Albino, but I'm going to show you how you can put your focus on different buckets of your business. And that's the only way it can actually multiply. When Chibo and Huang Di were speaking about acupuncture, Chibo told Huang Di, after Huang Di, questioned him, like, what are the core principles of acupuncture? He said, you've got to focus and intention. No, focus and concentration are the 2 most important things in acupuncture, most important things that a physician can have. And so this is rare in our day when we're distracted more than ever. So, so I'm going to show you how to use your energy, and you look at these as energy units. And no one of these divisions is better than the other one. All right, so let's go into it. So I'm gonna pull mine up, and we're just gonna have a conversation. This is gonna be a fluid conversation about these 4 buckets, and I'm gonna type in, and I'm gonna let you guys type in. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is just on the marketing side. Remember, these are your energy reserves. Oh, good. We did get that in there. Organizational energy reserves. So on the marketing side, this is the lifeblood of your practice. And I get it. It's like, we all just wish we had referral-based practice and it was closed practice. Whenever I hear that, when people say I've got a closed practice, I kind of chuckle, because I'm like, well, that means you just failed to learn how you can expand on the resources you've already got. And so in marketing, number 1 thing you want to do is, what are you doing from a marketing perspective right now? And so you want to have internal. So we have internal marketing. Whoops. Internal marketing, we have our hacks, right? So I talked about that yesterday. We have our health accelerator challenges. We have classes for patients, and they can bring their friends. And those are just on Zoom, and our health coaches teach them. Our hacks are on Zoom. Very easy. We get all our patients in one place at one time. We have our book referral program. So we give a book with a $100 referral card in it. We also have our, we do internally, we do a Ask Dave for referrals. So those are some of the internal things. External, we do a lot of webinars. So we have webinars for thyroid. And you guys are writing down what you're doing too. So we're doing this exercise together. I'm just sharing with you what we do. And I'm going to show you exactly what we do later on, but we do it for thyroid. We do it for pain. We do it for GI. We do it for weight loss. We do it for brain health. We do it for neuropathy. So we have all those things going on externally. We also have a podcast, books. I'm constantly on other people's shows being interviewed, and that always brings us new patients. What else are we doing? We have a rec center. So I don't know if you guys are involved in your rec center, but we do monthly wellness classes. And so we're involved in the community. Sometimes we'll do 5Ks, we'll be sponsors there. So those are some of the external things that we're doing. And then, our goal is every lead, we don't spend $100 per lead is our average. That's a hot lead. That's somebody who actually books an appointment. We capture our leads for, right around $15 to $25, depending on the area. And then what we get per each lead, we have an average of $1,000 in revenue gained. So remember, we're talking about pennies that double. And so if you guys spent $100 on marketing and you got $1,000 of revenue gained in return, I mean, would you say that's a pretty good ROI? Obviously, if you do too much of it, we've done too much where we just can't handle the volume of calls coming in, because to get a person who calls your office and to make sure that they're educated, we believe in pre-education. That's a big thing. We have a lot. One thing I didn't mention is, our YouTube is big, and then social media. I'm not involved in any social media at all. I chose that deliberately about 20 years ago, and it's been great. I have other people who do it, so you'll see me all over it, but I have no idea how it works. So, but I think that's a big thing for us too. So how many of you would spend $100 to get $1,000 in return? So that's what you're looking at in your marketing bucket. So the marketing bucket is beautiful these days, because you can have, like my webinars, people will tell me, they'll come into the office and say, I just saw you on the webinar earlier today. And I'm like, I was not even, I was with patients, or I was somewhere else, but you can do these where they're pre-recorded and they're evergreen. And so it's a beautiful process that exists today if you just learn how to use some technology. And these things are, they don't cost a lot of money. So how many of you feel like you've got a good marketing strategy when it comes to your practice? And I'm going to, okay, let's see. Unable to change. Whoops. I have to leave the call. What is Astate hacks? What are the hacks or health accelerator challenges? I talked about this a lot yesterday. So every week I take our patients, and you guys have a golden ticket access, just email ann.marked@gowellness.com or info@gowellness.com, and it will get you a hack access mark. And then you can see what it is. What do you pay for social media, and is it absolutely it's worth it, Jillian? So most of our money that we spend on marketing, like 95% of it is Facebook ads. And then we're for every $100 we spend, we get $1,000 in revenue gain. So you tell me if that's worth it. If you think that's a ripoff, then that's, it's your call. Brianna, you don't have a good marketing strategy. Unfortunately not. Marketing is definitely a weak spot. Just word of mouth. Word of mouth is great. You always want to have that, but it's not, you cannot run a self-running practice without having a marketing arm, because what I find is when you bring in associates, they're amazing and they're purpose driven. There's no question about that. I have some of the best associates in my organization, but you've got to have the marketing that drives people to them, because it's your energy. You are the entrepreneur, the founder of your business, and you carry just a different energy than what you realize. And so the only way you can have a self-running practice, and here's some of the strings attached, right? If you want that penny that doubles every day, you've got to learn how to market and be very good at it. So some of the marketing that we do webinars, like I mentioned. We also do direct to consult. And so those are good too. So you can do either one, but make sure there's a number one principle is pre-education. So you want your patients, when the prospects, as they sign up, you want them to easily be able to watch videos, and it's all got to be automated on your back end. You have a questionnaire that they fill out. It's not your history and physical questionnaire. It's a questionnaire that actually gets them thinking about their health. And that's what we call pre-education, so that when they come in, they already know it's going to be a different experience. You're putting a program together. You use multiple modalities. It's not just where they come in and lay down on the table and get some needles stuck in them and walk out of your clinic. And they hopefully feel better and then hopefully reschedule. But they know it's going to be a process in working with you. And so this is where we go to the next bucket, which is sales. And so I'm going to ask each and every one of you right now to grab a calendar. And your marketing calendar needs to be mapped out minimum the next 90 days, but ideally you have consistency is all you need to do in marketing. And your success only comes with what you're consistent at. And I am consistently doing marketing. We do our Monday marketing. It has been for pain for years. Our Tuesday marketing is for thyroid. Our Wednesday marketing is our hacks. Our Thursday is our health coaches do classes. And then Friday is where we do direct to consult. And that's where we fill up our webinars. Is over the weekend is when you get the most leads coming in. And so we have a company called Red Marketing, and you guys can absolutely use them. If you'd like, Red Marketing can do all of this for you, and they are they have a management fee, and then whatever you want to spend on Facebook, they can put all the ads together, same ads that we use. And so it's Red Marketing. I'll plug it in the chat box if you guys need a resource. Do not try to do this on your own. I think it's Leslie at Red Marketing is, I believe, the .com. All right. So there you go. Red Marketing is great. Let me just make sure I got her email correct, because some of you actually do want. Oh, I got it wrong. So here it is. Sorry. Okay, get this out of the chat box. Open up for me. There you go. Okay, it is at Leslie at marketinghy.com. There you go. She can help you. Just let her know your Regan sent you, and she'll take very good care of you. But that's who we use. That's it. And then we just set up all these different events, and we keep them very consistent. And then you got to watch, trends change in marketing. So you really have to watch the ebbs and flows, because sometimes, when last year at this time, it was insane. The amount of leads that we could get, we were spending, it was like $5 per lead. I'd never seen it so cheap, because everybody pulled out of the game. Everybody's just watching the TV. And I said, oh, this is ridiculous. We're just crushing it. And so we were able to really grow so much last year because everybody pulled the plug and no one got creative and pivoted. And we went straight virtual and we got very creative in our programs. We started having our peptide programs where everything just got sent to the patient's house. In Utah, we still had a fair number of our patients that just kept coming in and were fine. In my St. George location, that's where my brother Katie's partnered in that, and he's just done a great job. That's the one that's operating at the 46% profit margin. They've crushed it because St. George just was like, it is what it is, and didn't really have all the lockdowns, which was nice for sure. So that's marketing. For those of you think who, not how, who could I get to do the marketing for me versus how do you do this? I cannot tell you a single thing. I could not post a Facebook ad if someone had a gun to my head. I'd be like, it's going to take me like a year. So do not mess around with that crap. You guys are doctors. You guys are better at putting your hands on patients and healing people. Some of you may be tech savvy, and that's fine, but still find a resource. And Red Marketing is just one of many. They're just one that I give marketing companies a very small window of time to perform. If marketing companies are telling you it's going to take 3 to 6 months and you need to run the ad over and over and over again, that's just flat out bullshit. So you need to get a marketing company that can perform right out of the gates, but you need to have a compelling message. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for failure. So Red will just share with you exactly what we're doing. And I'm like Picasso, good artists copy, great artists steal. So you can copy me, but eventually you need to steal the information and make it your own. So stealing it is when you take ownership over something. And so eventually you'll want to have your own information, your own messaging. But in the beginning, just copy what we're doing. Red Marketing knows that I got no problem with that. There's plenty to go around. So someone's asking, Nancy, no lockdown, ouch for public health. Nancy, I think that's debatable. They've done great down there, and I think maybe our crazy lockdowns and the crazy steps we've taken might have done more harm than good. It's hard to say yet. Fabio, Instagram and TikTok as well. Absolutely, we do Instagram. I don't know if we do TikTok. I think we have a page, but not sure. I would get on there though. I think that's going to be huge. Okay, so everyone good on marketing? You guys feel solved on this bucket? Because this is going to be, this is arguably the most critical part of your clinic, because if you have a steady flow of new patients coming in, you can fix all the other problems in your organization pretty quick, as long as you have people coming in saying, man, I heard about you. I want to do business with you. I love your insights. These are going to be really important things. Okay, let's go down to cells. Okay, you guys, okay, so cells. Now this is what we call the report of findings process. And this is my 3D process. I trained you on it yesterday. And so how many of you have a cells process? How many of you have like a written out step-by-step cells process in your practice, just by, okay, anybody? Yes, no, or am I glitching? Okay, here we go. Thanks, guys. Nope. Yes. Okay, good. Good job, Phil. Brianna, nope, not written out. Okay, Dana, so write it out. Yan Jiao, no process. No. In my head, yeah. Roxy, I just do a good treatment and people want to come back. Okay, that's not a sales process, but I love it. Yes, Nancy, great. Nope, just started practice. Please tell us what a sales process is. Sales, so it's, I'm saying SALES. ROF is report of findings, is what that stands for. So a sales process is, if you go to purchase a car, for example, there's a process that they take you through. So first thing that the car salesman is going to ask you is, what are you looking for? What's your budget? They want to know what are the features you're looking for in a car, or a real estate agent. What do you want in a house, and what area are you most interested in, and what are your needs? How big is your family? Do you need 4 bedrooms? Do you need 5, or do you want a 2-bedroom? And so all these questions are really necessary. It's no different than when you go to the doctor. An orthopedic surgeon, they have the best sales process I've ever seen in medicine, because what the orthopedic surgeon does is, first of all, you are referred over by a primary care, or or somebody else. Orthopedic surgeon reviews your labs and says, okay, here's what I found. And you're saying, what do you recommend for me? And the surgeon will say, and this is why orthopedic surgeons are the highest paid in the medical profession. My friend's son, they just live right around the corner from us. His dad's an orthopedic surgeon, and his dad is making really, really, really good money. It's insane just by operating on people. And I'm always like, well, I'm trying to keep him out of your surgical room. And so we have some banter going on there, but the way they do it is that you come in, here's what's going on, here's what's going to happen if we don't correct this immediately. You're one car accident away from being paralyzed in the neck. I've heard that so many times. Is pretty wild, but then they have urgency and scarcity. So they say, look, the only appointment, we don't have any appointments until about 4 months from now, so we'll get you on the schedule. And then inevitably, once they get through all your insurance verification, if you've got great insurance, and then what they'll do is they're calling you up the next day. Hey, we had an opening. We can get you in tomorrow at 9 a.m. Can you make it? And so that's their sales process. I think it's not a sales process I would ever use. I don't like it, but that is a sales process. Our sales process is, first of all, I want to find out if the person is in the right place. Is this somebody I want to work with, right? And so the report of findings, this shows you, do they qualify for care? And what I mean by qualify is, are they someone who will put their health as their number one priority? How many of you have worked with patients who anything you share with them, they're going to do it? You say, hey, I want you to start cooking your vegetables and drinking bone broth every morning. They're going to say, absolutely, I'll do it. And then they do it and follow through. So how many of you would love having patients like that, right? How many of you prefer to just have patients who just lay down on the table and don't really get engaged? I mean, some of you just want to stick needles in people, and that's fine. There's no shame in that. But I only want to work with people who are highly educated about their health. And if they're not highly educated, they want to be educated about it. And then they want to take a proactive role. So on a report of findings or a sales process is simply you sifting and sorting through the people who are interested in your service. You want to make sure that they are going to fit your philosophy and fit your flow well enough to where you can accept them into care. So this would be, in your sales process, you want to say, do they qualify for care? Are they a good fit? And are they willing to invest? So those are two separate things, right? So they qualify. Number one, they have to be a good fit. That's first and foremost. If someone can write out the check, but they're not a good fit, I don't want it. I don't want that. And so they can go find somewhere else to work with. But the second one is they're willing to invest, and they can invest in their health. And so this is where we have payment programs. So we have people of all different financial backgrounds who can find ways to afford our care. And so how many of you have a company that you work with that you can get financing through, like maybe Care Credit? How many of you have Care Credit accounts set up in your clinic? Because this is getting kind of into our finances and operations, but it's also part of your sales process. So you want to make sure that you've got these capabilities. There's another, I think it's called Blue Skies. All right. Utah accents. Yeah. Sorry, Brianna. If anyone knows Utah accents from Hurricane, it's Hurricane. It's not Hurricane Utah, right? people are often wise to the process, and it often turns them away. So Diane, that's the process is something that you have to make it so that people actually enjoy the process. And that's what the report of findings is where you make the process really enjoyable, where the person, you're very curious about the person being a good fit. So you become the buyer of the patient. Otherwise, you're trying to sell someone something. So the mindset shift needs to be, you don't try, and I didn't mean to, some of you are like, oh, car salesman. I actually love buying new cars. Because I understand the process. I have no problems with it. I don't ever get pressure from a car salesman at all. I don't allow it, but and I'm also not, I never go into buying a new car with any attachment of what I want as the outcome. So, and it's the same whenever someone wants to come into my care, I'm not attached to the outcome. So, but if you have a process, then the person's like, wow, tell me more about what this means in my lab, or tell me about what you can do for me here. And so that's the big difference. If you're running labs, you have evidence to support what your recommendations are. It makes it really, really fun. So, okay. All right. What is Care Credit? So look it up, Care Credit. Care Credit is much better than a simple, now I'm talking about patient financing, not PayPal or not a credit card. So when a patient comes in, and you need to be able to present a payment program to them. And so the payment program, Archibald, you should create a company for patient financing. I have no desire to get into the financial world. Sorry, Brianna. But Care Credit, just go to carecredit.com and set up an account, because then you can offer terms to your patients that are favorable for healthcare financing. Because some people don't have a credit card with that high of a balance on it. And so Care Credit's a great way. If you live in the Western states, Mountain America is my favorite. Mountain America. And, or any of the states, Mountain America can actually connect you with them. We do 24 months interest-free. And so let me get you Charlotte's information. And Charlotte just took me to a jazz game, my brother and I. She's so awesome. So Mountain America is my favorite because they have the best terms that you can choose. And mountainamericacreditunion.com. And they have this deal called On Spot. So there's your resource. It's CLYMAN at MACU.com. All right. So does that make sense? You guys need to have treatment plans when you're putting an entire program together that's $12,000. People are going to be like, I don't, my credit card doesn't go that high. Or, do you have a payment option for me? And if you can control the finances, then you win. So, that is it. And so having these, like Mountain America Credit Union, Care Credit, we've used others in the past. Lending USA, Lending USA, their terms I don't like them as much, but these are just some good resources for you. So in your sales process, you need to have a step-by-step process that you take a patient through every time that gives you a measurable result. If you don't have a sales process, if you don't know, okay, a new patient comes into the office, what happens? A lot of you are just hoping that this really gregarious person who kind of leads the way, but you need to have, your job is to control the process so that they can control the decision, because they're coming into a brand new environment and they can feel it if you don't have a process that's very written out. So very first thing, you come into my office, you get an office tour, you get tea, you get water, you have some snack. Well, we did have snacks before COVID, but we put them away, but you get tea, water. You get a copy of one of my books. You get an entire tour of the facility. You get all the services explained in a very kind way from Era Lee, who does it in Salt Lake. It's just phenomenal. I mean, there's just a nice sense of calm that comes from that orientation, where a patient's like, man, I feel like I'm at the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons. And, that's the experience you want to create. And that's the process I'm talking about, is where you help a person feel right at home, so much so that they're willing to open up and share what's going on in their health experience with you. And so we have our new patient enrollment process. If you missed yesterday's day 1 and day 2, that's one of our processes. You want to have a process for add-ons. So a lot of my patients, they'll be on my hacks, or they'll hear me on my podcast, and they'll say, oh, you were talking about this cool peptide, called AOD 9604 for weight loss. Can I get some more information about that? You mind if I meet with you, Regan? So we have a whole process for add-ons. Let's add that on your treatment plan. Or re-ups, they get to the end of their plan. And then how are you doing your re-exam to offer them a chance to continue working with you? A lot of times we'll say, I want to see you twice a week for 12 weeks for acupuncture. And then you're done, and then they never come back, because you don't have a process in place. So yes, the marketing keeps new ones coming in, but if you want to keep the new ones and always give options for them, so that you create these lifelong relationships, which is one of the purposes of Anodyne. We want to foster lifelong relationships with our patients and their family and friends. And so that's in our mission statement there. So you want to have insurance versus cash. I'm always tell people, make sure that the insurance is just the cherry on top, that you could handle all of your overhead with just cash alone. That's a great way to practice, but you can't do that if you don't have this great ROF process or report of findings. So that's your sales bucket. So how many of you think it would be great and helpful if you had actually a sales process in your office? Morgan asks, how do you get paid from them? Well, here's what happened. This is a great question, Morgan. All of you are saying, yeah, duh, it'd be super helpful to have a process like this. So the process, we've fine-tuned it over the years. And I've trained on this for over a decade. And you can just maximize what you're doing just by fixing this one thing. Even your patients who are currently in your office, if you are seeing 30 or 40 patients a week right now, or even 20, and you just put in this one system and started selling programs, you're going to see your revenue triple like within less than 90 days. And I help people do this all the time. So how do you get paid? So someone pays for a $6,000 program. And what happens is they pay for that $6,000 program, and they say, and you say, well, would it be easier for you to use a credit card, or I can take a check as well? Or would you like to do a payment program with us? And then the patient says, I think a payment program makes more sense. You say, okay, would you like to put any money down towards the down payment, or would you just like to put it all on a payment program? I think let's put it all on a payment program. Okay. Well, I'm going to have you fill out this application. We have an outside company called Mountain America who helps us structure the payment program. And so they fill out their information, you submit it to Mountain America, and usually within 5 minutes, you get a response. Usually it's less than that. Plug it in the computer. Okay, you were approved. That's good news. And so your payments, we can do 24 months, no interest. And that would get your payment at, well, let's see, for $6,000. I'm just going to say $200 a month. I know that's not totally accurate. $250 a month. Does that payment work for you? And they'll say, yeah, I need it to be closer to 200. Okay, we can branch it out to 60, but there's going to be a little bit of interest on there. And they say, that's not a problem. And so right when they, they sign on the line with Mountain America, there's an app that you'll have them in, and they sign on that, they get approved. And then you get the money in your account, the entire $6,000, depending on how you structure the deal with Mountain America. You get the entire amount minus maybe 3 to 5%, depending on how you structure it with Mountain America. You get that within usually the next day, less than 24 hours. So you get all the money up front, and then you can have all the freedom to deliver all the services. So that's how it works. Okay, so what happens if they default on their payments? That's between them and Mountain America. I don't want you being the bank. That's why someone said, "Hey, Archibald, you should sign. You should be a lender." No way. That world is way too complicated. But Mountain America is very good to work with people. They've shared with us that they've had some patients who've gone through hardships and they've just extended their payments out or allowed them to pause on it. So not a big deal. Greg says, sounds great. However, in Canadian automotive town, usually patients aren't willing to pay out of pocket. Yeah, so Greg, you're right. If you don't have a good sales process, no one's going to pay out of pocket. And even if they're in a town where people are rich, I find that even people who are wealthy, you have to put them through even a better sales process because they have been there. They've had great service before and they know what it's like. So Greg, I'm going to encourage you to just change the mindset and say, okay, what can I control here? And what you can control is that process you take them through. Erica says, I can't even get people to pay an extra $30 for what insurance comes. How in the world do you sell $6,000? Well, this goes back to marketing. You're marketing to the right demographic. Remember, the two qualifications in your marketing you're looking for. I want people who put their health as their number one priority. And I also want people who are willing to invest. And so that's the important part there, Erica. And so if they can't afford $30 or they tell you they can't afford it, then there's not enough value that they placed on the program in most cases. There's going to be some nuanced cases, but in general, just fix these two things and everything gets better. You don't need to help everybody. Those are probably people who they just don't qualify. Nancy, how do you do some of that without staff? Well, if you don't have staff, you got to do it all, right? I mean, until you can start hiring, and we'll get into team building in just a minute here. These are great questions, by the way. I really appreciate you guys putting them there. And Greg, I love working with Canadians. I've done workshops up there, and it's such a great place. I love Montreal. I go to Toronto. I did go to Toronto about every 3 months for my strategic coach group. Do you offer refunds on people who are dissatisfied? Yes. You have to have a refund policy. We don't refund for services that are delivered. Absolutely not. And so that's, yes, in California, you can offer a prepay. It's a business proposition. So you're selling a program. So the program is it's got all these different nuances to it. So what do they get? I'm just throwing out a number, Roxy. I showed you my programs yesterday. I'll show you some more today, but that's up to you on what you want to put in your program, but you need to bundle all your services into one. So this is a key. So does that give you a little insight on sales? And we've got a lot to cover today that will add in some of these details because you guys are asking the right questions. You're like, what do they get? And how do I do it? And so these are really important, but hopefully that gives you an idea. So remember, you got your marketing bucket. So I call it the 10-10-10 rule, 10-10-10-10 rule. So you need to spend 10 hours of your week in marketing, 10 hours in sales, 10 hours in operations and finances, and 10 hours in delivery. And maybe most of you, if you're just a one solo team, it's 10, 10, 10, 20. So you probably need 20 hours in delivery and services. So you're going to be working hard until you bring someone else on. Okay, so let's move on. Unless there's any questions on sales, I just want to make sure you guys understand you need a process. You got to fill up the sales bucket. You got to get really good at marketing, get your message out there, get really good at sales. And we're going to be talking about all these things today. And then you got to get really good at the operations and finance. And this is stuff that does not interest me that much. I mean, I love the operations. I love the backstage. There's a difference between backstage and front stage. Christy's asking, can you say what the 10s are again? So I went through 4 10s. And if you look at it, so 10 hours marketing, 10 hours sales, 10 hours operations and finances, and 10 hours delivery. And some of you may need 20 hours in delivery, depending on how efficient you are in your treatments. So guess what most of us do? Most of us just plug ourselves in the patient care. We put ourselves in delivery, and that's all we think about is delivery, delivery, delivery. And that's one of the reasons why you'll never have a self-running practice is because all you're doing is you are the factory. You're in the factory working. Yeah, Roxy. Mine's like 10 minutes marketing, 40 hours delivery. Yes. And obviously these are rough numbers, but I'm just trying to share with you the 10, 10, 10, 10 rule so that you can see the emphasis that your whole practice, in order to have a holistic practice, you wouldn't want to have just a fire element and not balance the wood, right? Or the water to calm the fire. You want to have all the elements harmonized and same in your practice. So, okay. So operations and finances. So this is really important because this is your backstage. How many of you do your own accounting, your own books, all those things? Those are critical things, but what you want to do is in your operations and financing, you've got to have a process in place. You've got to have systems. You have to have an organizational chart, a flow chart. And then you really need to have financial health. So this is where you do all the hiring and firing. Hopefully you don't have to fire. This is where you do, someone asked earlier about benefits. This is where you do, team building. These are all the backstage. If you think about like if you're going to a concert, for example, what goes on behind the backstage, you have no idea. You don't see the musicians practicing together. You don't see the manager brokering the deal to get into the venue. You don't see the marketing material, what their thought processes is on that. You don't see, the band arguing over, what songs to play first. That's all backstage. And that's the stuff that, that you have that your patients will never see. You don't want to be talking about these backstage things. You don't want to be talking about your budget or your payroll in front of any patients, right? And so all the backstage is the operations and finances. And these are really important because this is where you have your processes in your clinic and policy. And then these processes and policy allow you to make strategy and tactics. Whoa, strategy and these are really critical. It also is where you keep your profit and loss. How many of you know pretty close to how you're doing on profit and loss right now? How was quarter one of 2021? Did you guys crush it? Did you have a great quarter? Ideally by now you should be pretty aware of how your performance was over the first 90 days. Looking from month to month is important. What's even better is if you're looking day to day at your daily goals. You want to really set these parameters that you accomplish in a day. And then if you do that over the course of a month, then you'll start to see your numbers rise. And then if you do it over 90 days, you'll see an even bigger spike. So accounting is actually really important because it helps if you can stay in the game. Because at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, one of the things that you've got is you've got this thing called cash flow. And at the end of the day, at the end of the month, that clock resets, and then you can either stay in the game or not based on cash flow, right? So Phil said you had a good quarter. You can always improve. Helps to have a bookkeeper. A bookkeeper is so critical, right? So yeah, you want to have your profit and loss. You want to know what your expenses are. And then you always there's two rules of finance. Rule number one, make more money. And Nancy, can you not see my screen? Because this is where I'm typing in the notes so you guys can see it. Can everyone see this? Okay. And then number two, make even more money. So these are your two golden rules. So you always want to be looking for how do you make more money? Well, you cut expenses or you add more value to the marketplace. And you guys have enormous value to offer. And so that's one of the ways, plug up your holes and offer more value. Plug up holes, offer more value. Add more services invest in yourself, invest in programs like this. You investing in your time to actually think about your business says a lot about you because you're somebody who wants to really grow a successful practice. So this is your key department, and you have to look at finances every day. You've got to control the money. Otherwise, money will control you. And you have to control it in your sales process, in your marketing, and especially in your operations and finance. Do not tolerate when things start to drop financially. Do not tolerate it. What I mean is you go to work, you pivot, you make things work. Because things change all the time. And that's the beautiful thing about an entrepreneur is you take on an enormous amount of the risk and uncertainty. But you also enjoy an enormous and an unequal amount of the reward. A lot of acupuncturists, a lot of us healers, we don't realize that there needs to be that gap because of the risk you're taking on. You're what you deserve in our society, the United States of America and Canada. When you take on more risk, you get more reward, or you get a bigger, there's a bigger penalty as well. Okay. Thank you for answering, Nancy. You can see that. Good. How is your employee turnover rate? What is the creek? Okay, we're not to hiring employees yet. I'm giving you an overview of how to build a business. And then, like I said, the rest of the day, we're going to be diving into these buckets. I'm going to first show you some of the profit centers, and then we'll dive into the buckets, but we'll go through one more bucket and then we'll get into all the details. So think big picture right now, and hopefully you guys have these 4 buckets. You slap it on your wall somewhere where you can remember it. And then you always think, okay, when am I going to work on marketing? What's the day? And it's got to be consistent. You cannot miss that marketing meeting. What day am I going to work on the sales process? And when am I going to have new patients come in that I can take them through this amazing ROF process? And then when am I going to work on operations and finance? And it cannot be on the weekends, or it can't be just before April 15th or October, whatever the extension deadline is. Do not do that. And then when am I going to work in the clinic? And even if a patient calls and says, oh, but I want to see you, the only time I can come is on Monday, but that's your marketing time. Well, you're going to have to tell them, sorry, they're going to have to change their schedule for you. You don't need to accommodate them. Does that make sense? So professional, you always put up the rules of the game. You don't let other people define it. So this is where you really have to run control over your schedule, because, if you're controlling your money, you also need to control your time, because money and time are connected. And so you guys know that it's great if you made $100,000, that's great. But if it took you 10 years to get there, that would be really tough, right? So you got to condense the time in which you're doing the most effective activities. So all right, delivery of services. So this is Acu. This is your functional medicine visits. We do a lot of regen visits, peptide reviews, program design, health coaching, all these things go into this bucket. And depending on what services you have, you've got to start looking, how can I do it even better? Someone asked earlier, well, how many patients per hour, I think was the question. Well, we schedule our appointments every 15 minutes. And so easily it can be 4 patients an hour. You may not have the space to be able to do that. And so that's okay. You've got to do what you can with the space you've got. But what I can tell you is the more that you can start speeding up your flow, and that's where I've got the acupuncture blueprint program. It's a membership program, $97 a month, and you can get in there and learn how to fine tune all of your processes, how to get in there, how to increase your volume without compromising care. But this all goes into the delivery of services. This is your manufacturing plant. If you remember Elon Musk with Tesla, their big challenge is they sold so many Model 3s. And, Model 3 was just, I can't remember, they sold like 400,000 cars in a matter of a couple of days, which was unheard of. But the problem is they could not manufacture them fast enough. And so Elon Musk, this is when he's sleeping on couches. He had, basically a gun to his head, like, hey, everyone's got these deposits down and you're not delivering. Tesla's not delivering. And so they had to go back into their manufacturing and change everything to get it fixed. And this is what a lot of you are going to have to do, especially if you've been practicing with the mindset like they teach in school, 1 patient per hour, which is like an obscene amount of time to spend with a patient for an acupuncture visit. You need to have other visits where you're actually doing your consulting and you need to get paid separately for those services. Acupuncture shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes. It should be a fast process. Pull the needles shouldn't take more than a couple minutes, and that's where we get the 15 minutes. So some of you may have to fix your manufacturing, but this is also where you start looking at, man, what's the diversity of services? And today I'm going to share with you how you can grow in two ways. You can grow by increasing volume, which is great. It's fun, but you might get burned out, or you can increase in services offered. So you can put in other service centers that are much more profitable. So right now we've got a patient visit average. It hovers between $400 and $500 per patient visit. So if you think about that, you say, well, how do you charge that much for acupuncture? Well, we're doing far more than just acupuncture. And so it's something you can do too. And I'll teach you how, but in your services and delivery, you want to look at this as, how's my communication? How's my motivation? Do I have the capabilities I need to do functional medicine? Someone mentioned that earlier, and they're all worried, like, do I have the capabilities? Well, I can tell you, if you got trained yesterday and yes, okay, these are the thought processes that go into functional medicine, and then I have someone I can reach out to before I ever meet with the patient, then yes, you can do it. You have the capability right there. Do you have the motivation? Is it going to be something that's too distracting? Well, we'll go through an exercise. I'll share with you how you put in innovation. So the delivery is where you can have massive innovations. You can have it in every single one of these buckets, but it makes it really fun. So that's your 4 buckets of an organization. This is how you can get that 1 penny per day to, it might take 5 years before you start to see that massive spike, but it's going to give you multiples that you never dreamed of if you put the right system in place. So hopefully, has this been helpful for everyone, just to get a better picture and a better understanding of some simple organization, the energetic management of your business? And okay, very helpful. Good. And so imagine if you guys had each one of these segments where you just have some energy that you put into these every day, instead of just the delivery, which I know you guys are great at, and I want to just applause you for that, but move on. All right. We're breaking up from just that. You're going to, have, multiple capabilities now. So good. So let's take a break. Thanks for all your questions and engagement. What does REG stand for? Regenerative medicine, Fabio. And okay, so we'll take a 10-minute break. We'll be back at 10:35. All right. So we'll see you very soon. Thanks, guys.